It has been a year since I published my first Transpennine Route Upgrade video, and since then quite a bit has been achieved, and the first visible signs of new infrastructure are beginning to appear. The most notable achievement since my first video is the introduction of electric passenger services between Manchester and Stalybridge, with TPE's Class 802s now operating on overhead 25 kV lines between Manchester Victoria and Stalybridge. Although the units currently make the switch halfway between the two stations in the Clayton Bridge area. The transfer from diesel to 25 kV and vice versa is initiated automatically using APCO, which stands for Automatic Power Changeover, and the power is switched when the trains are on the move. The wires between Church Fenton and Colton Junction were also installed and energised last year, with the first test train operating on the section in September. The testing and commissioning phase has continued since then, and the wires are due to be brought into use this year, although I haven't been able to find out exactly when. Now that the two ends of the route have been electrified, the task of installing wires between Church Fenton and Stalybridge can begin, with the wires to be installed in sections which are split into a number of works packages. Recently, the public consultation for the section referred to as W2B concluded, which covers the section from Stalybridge to Diggle, and includes Mossley and Greenfield stations. The stations will be upgraded to improve accessibility and to allow space for longer trains, with the new structures such as overbridges built with sufficient clearance for the overhead line equipment. The works packages may seem quite small, but given the number of existing structures which need to either be adjusted or replaced to make way for the OLE on the TRU route, then applying for one all-encompassing Transport and Works Act order would not be practical, especially given that the TWAO applications also include a period of public consultation. The benefit of splitting the route into sections also means that work can get underway on one section, whilst the planning and public consultation can take place on others simultaneously. The sectional approach also provides benefits as each section is delivered. This approach does mean that work can appear to be a bit more piecemeal, and it may look as if not much is being achieved in one area, whilst other areas appear to be a hive of activity. The W3 section between Huddersfield and Dewsbury, for example, is perhaps where work is most visible, as it includes two of the most complicated aspects of the TRU. Huddersfield Station is being upgraded and restored, and to the east a junction known as Thornhill Junction is being replaced with a new grade separated junction, which is also referred to as a flying junction. The upgrade of Huddersfield Station will include the installation of two new through platforms located on a new island. The new island platform will be connected to the existing platforms and main entrance by a new accessible overbridge, and by lengthening the existing underpass. Each platform will be 200 metres long, except for the Penistone Bay platform, which will be moved closer to the entrance. The main platforms will be lengthened to the east to provide more space for longer trains. Although the plans for the new elements, such as the overbridge and new platform canopies, show a more modern design, the original Grade 1 listed station building and roof are being sympathetically restored. The work on Huddersfield Station has been going on for a year, and recently the TRU social media channel shared images of a recently restored roof section above platform 1 and 4. To undertake the work, a complex scaffold structure was installed below the roof. This has allowed work to take place safely from above whilst the station remains open. With work having been finished on part of the restoration, sections of the scaffolding are now starting to be removed. The work to restore the roof includes grit blasting the steelwork before being strengthened and repainted. Meanwhile, the roof panels are being replaced and the original glass lantern feature will be reinstated. Regular users of the station may note the Grade 2 listed tea room has been removed. But fear not, the removal is only temporary. It was carefully dismantled into 8,000 individual pieces and will be reinstated once it has been repaired and repainted, and once the upgrade of the station is nearing completion. OLE will be installed through the station, and from the images I could find, it looks as if the cantilevers used will be as unobtrusive as possible, which is especially important for the existing structure. Obviously, such a large and complex upgrade will cause some disruption, and despite Network Rail's best efforts, sections of the route will have to close periodically. The most notable upcoming closure will begin at the end of August and will continue until the end of September. This closure will mean no trains will pass through Huddersfield during that time. The closure is to allow the Alliance, which is delivering the TRU, to carry out platform remodelling work and to prepare for the new and longer platforms, as well as removing various structures and upgrading track. Although disruption is unfortunately inevitable, it does seem that a true collaborative approach is being taken, which means the Alliance is working with Northern and Transpennine Express to keep trains moving where possible. The TRU West Alliance, which is delivering the upgrade between Huddersfield and Leeds, is led by Network Rail, with Amy and Bam Nuttall completing various works packages. During my visit to Ravensthorpe in March, the route between Dewsbury and Leeds was closed, which meant that TPE services were diverted, with the likes of the Liverpool to Newcastle service routed via Wakefield. This did mean that a rail replacement bus service was in place for the intermediate stations, but it seemed well organised, with staff on hand outside Huddersfield station to aid passengers. The only slight issue I had was at Ravensthorpe, where it wasn't particularly clear which bus stop I was supposed to use on the return back to Huddersfield, as the buses stopped on Huddersfield Road, which is quite a walk from the station. But in general, it does seem as if Network Rail is only closing the railway where it's absolutely necessary, and when the railway does have to close, that the train operating companies are collaborating to minimise disruption. The 3-week closure, which took place in March, allowed the Alliance to replace 2,000 metres of track around Batley and begin the installation of overhead line equipment between Morley and Leeds. 850 metres of drainage was also upgraded, and a new maintenance storage area was built close to Morley Station. Morley Station was largely completed in 2023, with a new accessible overbridge constructed which has sufficient clearance for the overhead lines, which are due to be installed. I visited the station last year and was pleasantly surprised with the design, which used stone cladding for the lift shafts to try to ensure that the station was in keeping with local buildings. Hopefully the other 17 stations, which also need to be modified to provide clearance for OLE and to improve accessibility, will be designed just as thoughtfully. The next video will look in a little more detail at the four-tracking between Huddersfield and Dewsbury, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. And if you'd be so kind, please give this video a like, as it helps the video to get noticed.